Brittney Griner was never supposed to go out like this. For years, she was the face of the WNBA, a towering presence with the rare ability to dunk, a center built for highlight reels, and the player the league leaned on when it needed attention. She was unstoppable in Phoenix, paired alongside Diana Taurasi in what was meant to be a dynasty. She was marketed as a unicorn, a force of nature with size, mobility, and skill that no one else could match. But if you fast forward to today, the legacy that once looked untouchable now feels permanently scarred, overshadowed by one ugly moment and an exit that feels less like a retirement and more like an escape. The drama that unraveled in real time started with a single viral moment. Griner fouled out against Caitlin Clark in the Indiana Fever, and cameras caught her muttering under her breath. Lip readers and fans online didn't hesitate. Many were convinced she called Clark an effing white girl. Whether you believe it or not, the clip spread like wildfire. Griner denied it, claiming she didn't remember what she said. But the damage was done. Perception became reality, and for millions of fans, her words confirmed what they already suspected, that resentment had boiled into something far uglier. Only weeks later, Griner announced her retirement. Some tried to spin it as a graceful decision, the natural closing of a long career. But few believed that. The timing was too convenient, too suspicious. This wasn't a victory lap, it was damage control. The truth is that no matter how many all-star nods she had, no matter how many dunks made the highlight reels, her final defining image wasn't a game-winning block or a thunderous slam. It was her lashing out at Caitlin Clark. And that, more than anything else, is the brutal legacy she leaves behind. To understand why this moment hit so hard, you have to look at the bigger picture. Griner was once the centerpiece of the WNBA, but the league has changed. Faster guards, sharper shooters, and a perimeter-heavy style left her slower game behind. Younger players with more energy and better conditioning started running circles around her. She was no longer the focal point, no longer the unstoppable force. She became, in the harshest terms, replaceable. That transition is hard for any star, but for someone marketed as the future of the league, it was devastating. Then came Caitlin Clark. Clark wasn't just a good player, she was a phenomenon. She brought in ticket sales, TV ratings, merchandise spikes, and a social media presence the league had never seen before. She was doing for the WNBA what the league had been waiting decades for someone to do. But with her rise came a shadow for the veterans. Griner, who once owned that spotlight, now had to watch as Clark took it effortlessly. And the resentment was obvious. Players rolled their eyes in interviews, threw shade in press conferences, and on the court they targeted Clark physically. But Clark absorbed it all. She got knocked down, shoved, hit, and every time she stood back up and drained another 30-foot three, her stock only rose higher. Fans rallied around her resilience, and that, in turn, only deepened the bitterness. So when Griner snapped, it wasn't just a random outburst. It was years of decline colliding with Clark's meteoric rise. She was already struggling in Atlanta, reduced to single-digit scoring nights, benched during key moments, even in the playoffs. Her superstar aura had already faded. The foul on Clark and the alleged slur didn't just look like frustration, they looked like a veteran admitting in the worst way possible that she couldn't stop the future. And fans saw it exactly that way. The backlash was immediate and relentless. Clips went viral, conversations exploded across sports talk shows and social media, and instead of sympathy for Griner, there was outrage. If the roles had been reversed, if Clark had muttered a slur about race instead of the other way around, her career would have been over in an instant. But Griner stayed on the court. That double standard fueled the fire, and suddenly Griner wasn't just dealing with criticism, she was dealing with her entire reputation being rewritten. Her retirement then didn't feel like a choice. It felt like a cornering. Her production had dropped. Her role had shrunk. Her image was tarnished. And her future in the league looked grim. Retiring froze everything in place, but instead of preserving her dominance, it locked in the ugliest chapter as her ending. No tributes poured in. No wave of love from former teammates and opponents. Just silence mixed with chatter about Clark, proving that the story wasn't Griner's exit, it was Clark's rise. And maybe that's the cruelest twist of all. For years, Griner was positioned as the future of women's basketball. But in the end, her story wasn't about what she built. It was about what she couldn't handle. Clark didn't taunt her, didn't call her out, didn't do anything but play basketball at the highest level. Yet Griner's frustration made her the villain in Clark's highlight reel. That moment, replayed endlessly, became the symbolic clash of eras, the bitter veteran versus the untouchable new star. The WNBA, meanwhile, is embracing the reset. With expansion on the horizon, new markets in Portland and Toronto preparing to join, the league doesn't want headlines about veteran stars assaulting the player, bringing them mainstream relevance. They want clean storylines, fresh faces, and stars like Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston leading the charge. Griner's exit isn't a loss, it's addition by subtraction. It clears the way for a new generation unburdened by resentment and drama. As for Griner, she's hinted at Twitch streaming, pivoting to gaming or media. But the truth is, retirement doesn't silence the noise, it amplifies it. Online, she'll face the same flood of comments, the same references to Clark, the same reminders of the moment she lost control. You can retire from the league, but you can't retire from the internet. And that's where her story truly stings. Because instead of being remembered as the dominant center who changed the game, she's now remembered as the player who couldn't adapt, who let bitterness define her, and who walked away right after trying to take down the league's brightest star. Her retirement doesn't close the book, it cements her as a cautionary tale. So where does this leave women's basketball? Stronger. The old era is gone, and the new one belongs to Caitlin Clark, to Boston, to the rising stars who thrive on competition without needing to tear down the future. Griner's fall only underscores the unstoppable wave that Clark has brought to the league. You can fight it or you can embrace it. Griner fought and she's gone. Clark embraced the challenge and she's bigger than ever. The league has shifted permanently and Griner's legacy is locked in as proof that no one, not even the once untouchable face of the WNBA, can stand in the way of that change. What do you think? Was this truly Griner's decision to walk away, or was she pushed out by the storm she helped create? And does her retirement mark the final end of the old WNBA, making way for a new era led by Clark? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next chapter in this unfolding drama.